I'm Jack Rutherford. I'm CEO of Modula-S, and we do ultra-efficient buildings. I'm an architect, and so we've designed buildings that are net zero, passive performance, all of those things. Rob is with our team. I'll let Rob introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. I am in charge of sales and business development for Modula-S. I'm leading our efforts on the commercialization side, where we are building more efficient buildings, mostly for commercial clients. We're also very excited about opportunities within the military as well.
And Patrick Forber is a consultant to Modula-S, and he's our science advisor.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, I'm a professor of philosophy at Tufts University in Medford, Massachusetts, and I work on philosophy of science, decision theory, and game theory. So I'm consulting in the capacity about making decisions under uncertainty and in the face of risks, and how that might sort of affect decision makings in response to, say, global pandemics and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Great to meet your whole team. Jack, thank you. I'm Brandon. I'm from the AFWERX team.
Hi, I'm Robert Rutherford, EVP of Modula-S and Director of our commercialization efforts. Our team has decades of entrepreneurial experience in finance, construction, design, law, sales. Our history: we invented ultra-efficient building envelopes, we patented our building system, and we continue to design and construct custom modular solutions. We created Modula-S to enter the market for modular, passive, net zero buildings.
Our groundbreaking design is a single, resilient, passive performance building deployable in the Arctic or the desert. One building for worldwide use. Modula-S is a platform technology hosting many other technologies inside of our facilities. We have integrated systems. For example, the building is the microgrid. Modula-S is an Air Force AFWERX SBIR Phase 1 and 2 contractor working with Northcom NORAD for high-performance buildings in the Arctic. The DoD and the Air Force operate in extreme locations. We provide excellent interior living and working conditions and a far smaller supply chain. The FAR and DoD building code have been recently updated. The FAR requires best value purchasing, and the code requires life cycle cost analysis. We are best value and lowest cost. For expeditionary bases, purchasing can be simple, and our FlexFX system is purchased in mission packages. The building is linear, joining bay to bay. We can also offer advanced passive performance subsystems for use at CONUS bases such as Tyndall. The SBA recently enhanced the ability of SBIR companies to contract with the government. The new SBIR Phase 3 enhancements are any color of money, no dollar limit. Competition is satisfied, sole source, preferred contractor, and specified by name. Thank you. We want to build the base of the future.
Nice 3D animations and tour there, guys. Excellent. Thank you. Let's just open it up now for a general discussion. Jack, do you want to kick us off with any topics to cover?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. I'd like this workshop to have sort of two phases. The first phase is about ultra-efficient buildings and what that means. And then the second phase will go into our design of an emergency screening and infectious care facility that can be housed within our buildings. And buildings can accommodate any use. So we refer, when a specific use is essentially a mission package. And I guess I'd like to start it off by saying the way we envision bases and buildings is that they're autonomous and they can exist on their own. Everybody thinks buildings need power. Our buildings are so efficient that we generate surplus power. And that's a game changer in terms of how you envision what buildings can do. I'll let anybody ask a question.
Jack, the first question came in from Anne of how does a building generate power?
Well, it's a question of the relationship between the amount the building consumes and the amount it produces. And so in our video that we just saw, there are solar panels, for instance, on the buildings. And everybody thinks you need a lot of solar panels to power a building. Well, our building needs so little power that the solar panels on the building actually produce more than you use. And that's not true for all climates, by the way, but the broad variety of climates. If you're in the Sahara Desert, which is one of the new Air Force bases in Agadez, Niger, it would definitely produce a substantial amount of surplus power. And that base is challenged in terms of logistical supply. So that's what we mean by autonomous.
Hi, it's Sherry. Great video, Jack. Really very nice. So from a healthcare perspective, one of the things that has certainly been not only a priority in many of the meetings that we have had as we work with these healthcare systems across the country to try to engage teams in a different way at the point of care. One of the things that has continued to surface over and over and over with senior leaders is this idea of a different temporary structure. In other words, what we've seen historically over the past several months is the use of perhaps tents that have been brought in by the National Guard. We have looked at different healthcare systems who perhaps have had low census in some of their hospitals in a selected region that they have literally turned into a COVID center. And going forward, as we anticipate yet further changes, as we look at not only COVID for the fall, but also influenza, there is continued discussion around what that might look like and frankly, what's available other than, as you can imagine, not at the top of a CEO of a hospital's list right now to understand the temporary architecture that could be stood up overnight. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. It certainly sounds like from the video that anything's possible.
That's right. Brandon, do you want to pop up the ESIC brochure? And then we can talk, I'll talk with that on the screen because this is our solution for the medical community. And do you have that one?
It's coming up. 2 seconds.
Okay, good. So our background is we designed a clinic for the treatment of Ebola. And because tents don't work, if you've ever tried to clean a tent of an infectious disease, you know they don't work. And you can't clean tents effectively. People try, but it just stops working at a certain point. And so what we've done is we've designed and we can put any medical facility inside our buildings, but we've designed a little screening and infectious care facility because fundamentally you don't want the disease coming into your emergency room, but you also need a safe place for workers to work so they don't get infected. And there's various things that we do. This clinic has active disease-killing characteristics to the surfaces. It has lighting that kills the disease. It has air filtration that kills the disease. You pretty much can package 5 or 6 different technologies into this clinic. And no matter what, this clinic would work for Ebola, it would work for COVID-19. And what I like to do is turn it over to Patrick, because there's 2 things to be successful for your hospital clients. Patrick, we can give you a nice facility, but you also have to make good decisions. And maybe Patrick wants to speak to this.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of this has been taking place in general forums and in the news media with all the interviews of epidemiologists that we're seeing come out in the New York Times or the Boston Review or the Atlantic. But really, the fundamental issue is you need to make decisions in the face of uncertainty, and not making a decision or holding off on the decision carries certain costs, as we have so aptly witnessed over the last few months, right? And so what would happen is if you have these care facilities that can be mobile, that are relatively cheap and can be sent to areas of need, this increases the flexibility of your decision making. So you can lower the costs of responding to the uncertain consequences of a new viral pathogen or a new potential global pandemic without sort of waiting for scientific certainty that this is going to be a problem, right? And so, you know, many of the epidemiologists have diagnosed the problem with the US response as just waiting too long to act, waiting for certainty, waiting for more evidence to come in. And when you lower the costs of action, you can respond to that uncertainty before, you know, proactively. So that's, I mean, that's sort of what I can say in general, but I can elaborate it.
Yeah, so very interesting, and confirms kind of what I thought when I was, you know, doing the background work on your company. So one of the things that's interesting to me, knowing a little bit about CBER, is so you're in phase 3, I think. That's IDIQ. So that's for the government, right?
Yeah, we're in phase 2, but now they've changed, they've upgraded phase 3, so I can do phase 3 anytime.
Okay,
we can do contracts immediately under phase 3.
So through an IDIQ, but that it would be for government. So, you know, the process as I work through it is a little challenging to figure out how to advise a commercial healthcare client who has worked through the state leadership, in other words, the governor's office, for things like PPE and et cetera. So there would have to be some type of engagement there to understand the process to access this and how it would be provided, say, from an HHS, NIH, or maybe even it's, I don't know, HCA, I don't know.
So the phase 3 CBER can be used by any part of the government, okay? Any part. And it can be administered through the GSA. So there's availability there, but also state governments and their emergency preparedness offices are interlinked with the Army Corps of Engineers in every state, and the Army Corps of Engineers can simply buy it using the phase 3.
Perfect. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll answer Ann's question. The buildings can be set up within a week. There's different methods for setting them up. It more depends on the availability of sites that really determine the time. And then Ruth, how do we prevent the spread of infectious disease agents in our buildings? It's a combination of numerous technologies. There's UV light disinfection, there's airstream disinfection, there's a copper metal alloy that's just like stainless steel. Everything that is stainless steel in a hospital can be made out of this alloy, and it kills viruses within 30 minutes. You don't have to wipe the surface down. It's an active kill surface. So we have depending on the pathogen, we have numerous solutions. And we can keep adding solutions. We're a building. If something new comes along, we're open to incorporating it. The 222 nanometer UV light disinfection technology was not available when we designed the Ebola clinic, but it is available starting this year, actually.
Hi, this is Cindy. With schools supposedly opening up, would you have any recommendations for school systems on any kind of coatings or paints or nanomaterial that could help with this on their walls?
Yes, I would. Okay, so in the scheme of pathogens, COVID's highly aerosolized. Ebola, you really have to touch a fluid. I wouldn't have said this 3 months ago, but I'm not so concerned about COVID on surfaces. It does seem to be the aerosol method, and we follow this quite closely. So I would encourage schools to disinfect the air in their air conditioning systems. I think that's probably the main issue. Then secondary to that would be changing faucets, fixtures, and door handles into the copper nickel alloys rather than stainless steel. So if you do those two things, you're going to get a significant improvement.
It's Sherry again. So just one more thought. This is an area I think that really needs so much attention, and I think this is an amazing solution. So I think about agencies like DHA, who have, as of last October, taken over pretty much all the military health systems. Everything is now no longer local. This could be a game changer for our military health systems, as well as the VA. And so, I don't know where you are with that, but, those are kind of my thoughts, being passionate about these frontline providers and what I've watched them go through. When I send people out to spend time with them, they come back literally speechless for like days.
Yeah.
So, this is an area, what I'm hearing is just incredible. And this is my first stop when I logged on today. I was so happy to be able to make this workshop. So I'm really very encouraged by what you've done. Congratulations for what you have done. And I'm very hopeful going forward. I'm sure that you've made it this far in this SIBR process, that you will be, able to engage with the right individuals. You'll be able to get in touch with those leaders. We're nowhere near through this pandemic. And it is a really, I was a nurse historically. I'm married to a physician on the front line every day, day in and day out. He's there. And, he's part of the 600 team, 150 practices, 600 physicians who speak every Wednesday night on Zoom, all of them. They are actively planning for more in the fall. They're not even focused on now. They're looking to the future. So I really am going to take a lot of this information. I'll share it. And I'd love to have some type of contact with someone. I'll put my email in here. But, please keep going. And, wherever you can get in the government with the masses, there is an amazing colonel her name is Colonel Kara Gormont. She is incredible. She's an innovator. She is currently transitioning out, and may already have now, from Hickam Air Force Base. She's going to be the chief of staff at DHA under General Place. She is a dynamo, and I'm going to send her a note and let her know about your company. And I'm just positive that they're going to want to engage. So great work. I'm even more impressed than I thought I would be.
Well, thank you. And that's what we're looking for. The issue has been purchasing for the military. We just need to find the person who wants to buy for pandemic care now for having buildings 6 months from now. You have to stockpile buildings. You can't build a building overnight. We have to stockpile them, then we can deploy them. And that's all that has to happen. The technology's here, we've got it transportable, everything, but we just need, if you ordered one right now, you'd get it in 6 months. And you can't do that in a pandemic. You need that. We should have had these in the first 2 weeks of COVID. And then the healthcare workers would be protected.
I mean, the good thing about what you're saying is that we've been through this with PPE.
Yes.
So the model is in place now. I mean, I think people understand that, and there's certainly enough dollars flowing now that this should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, and so the issue with PPE is that inside of our facility, you're simply exposed to lower viral load. You need PPE in a high viral load condition. You still need PPE, but it's safer because the virus is getting killed all around you before it can come onto you. And the second thing about PPE is you have to take it off and put it on without contaminating yourself. And that taking off is a doffing process where it's actually quite hazardous.
Well, I can tell you, you know, being out there and amongst this, so my husband tells a story to some of the medical students over the weekend that it takes him 2 nurses, 20 minutes to get into a triple set of PPE to see one patient who is COVID positive.
Yeah.
So let's just say that, and then to get out of it is another 20 minutes, 2 different rooms, 2 aisles to walk down the dirty into the dirty room, then to turn around and get undressed and then sprayed, full body spray, and then into an ultraviolet room, and then to walk out a clean room.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these are just stories and things that are out there that it's just incredible. And so this kind of setup is out there. You know, I hope that it's something that we can, you know, we can get into the facilities it needs to be in terms of the, you know, the senior leadership in the government in healthcare is who needs to engage with this.
Hey, thanks, Sherry. We are running out of time. We have time for like one more question, and then Jack and team, if you guys want to close with some final thoughts and comments.
Patrick, Rob, I'll go with your final thoughts.
Wait, before final thoughts, anybody else, Cecil, David, anybody else, any more questions?
No, it's been very interesting.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo the last few comments and sort of make an analogy to this building really being an extension of PPE. And I think if we think about not just, I'm now going to call it BPE for building protection equipment. And I sort of love making that connection. So it's going to go help me describe what we're doing here to people better. And I really just kind of had a eureka moment right there. We need more building protective equipment, not just personal protective equipment.
Patrick, any final thoughts? Or?
Well, just to reemphasize, increasing the flexibility, the speed and cost efficiency of our response is really important. And you can even just do the math on this and calculate how effective this solution would be for responding to these kinds of pandemics flexibly, going to the hotspots, moving to the new hotspots, and having these resources on hand, I think would be an important item in our arsenal for combating these kinds of pathogens.
Thanks, Patrick. Jack, you want to bring us home, and then we'll send everybody back to AFWERXfusion.com?
Exactly. I'm glad we had such a great little discussion here, and we're very pleased to be included in Base of the Future. We can be contacted through the showcase. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, everyone. Head back over to AFWERXfusion.com and enjoy the rest of your time.